What if Crown Jewel 2018 was booked differently, or better, as I should say as well? Welcome everybody to the BrewCrew channel, and welcome to WWE What If Part 9. Yes, of course, I know it's been a while since, of course, Part 8 came out. It's been a couple of weeks, but we are here with Part 9, as of course, like the title says, is of course that one of the main things will be the difference in Crown Jewel 2018 than it was in real life. As of course we know, it was not the best show as it was in real life, as of course it was potentially hyped up to be, really. And it was kind of the better title that I could think of, because it was the only sort of thing that I could think of to try to come up with for this part. And I know it's been a while since, of course, Part 8 came out, and coming out with Part 9 right now. But I hope you guys are enjoying this season, even this series, even though the episodes have kind of been spaced out. I've been busy with other stuff, especially doing other videos, of course, here in the football season, doing football videos as well. But I hope you guys are enjoying this series, though. If you guys, of course, don't know what is happening coming into this part, definitely I recommend go checking out the rest of the series. The link to the playlist to all the videos will be down in the description below. So definitely go check out those videos first, and then come back to this video when you guys are ready. But before we get into this video, though, if you guys do enjoy wrestling content like this, and of course football content, hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell for future upcoming videos here on this channel, as of course I do both content as well on the channel. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into Part 9 of our WWE What If series. Now, before we actually get into Crown Jewel 2018, which is sort of the main part of this video, let's actually talk about some of the other shows, as this part will be from Hell in a Cell 2018 to Survivor Series 2018. Now, first, let's start off with Hell in a Cell 2018, as it does have a good amount of keep matches. So, of course, as usual, start off with the keep matches, and then we'll go to the regular matches. Keep matches, of course, Ronda Rousey versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship would happen. Flair versus Becky Lynch for the... Did I say Ronda Rousey versus... I don't know. Crap. Redo. Ronda Rousey versus Alexa Bliss would happen, of course, with Ronda Rousey retaining. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair would also happen for the SmackDown Women's Championship, with Becky Lynch becoming the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Of course, if you guys remember, around this time, this would still happen with her becoming the man and sort of having her heel turn. But, of course, her turn from the Irish Lass Kicker to the man of the women's division, becoming the SmackDown Women's Champion. Rusev Day versus The New Day would also still happen for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, with The New Day retaining. The Shield, Ambrose and Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre would also still happen, with Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler retaining in a really great match. If you guys have not actually seen this match, definitely go check it out. It's a really great match. So yeah, definitely go check it out. Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton Hell in a Cell match would also stay the same, with probably a little bit better ending, but probably still Randy Orton winning. But I don't really know, because there's the talk about that it ended early due to the one spot with Jeff or whatever, so maybe a little bit different ending, and maybe still Randy Orton winning, but I don't know. And yes, still the main event would be Braun Strowman cashing in his Money in the Bank contract in a one-on-one match between him and Roman Reigns inside Hell in a Cell. Sort of a little bit different, though. Maybe, yes, Brock Lesnar would get involved in this match still. I probably would not have Mick Foley be the special guest referee, and mostly I'd probably have Brock Lesnar return at the end of the match instead of sort of during the match, which would probably get Roman Reigns to win and retain, and then Brock Lesnar come out and go after Roman Reigns and also go after Braun Strowman, potentially setting up a future match, which of course we won't see at Super Showdown, sadly, but potentially we'll see at Crown Jewel. Going on to sort of the new matches, Samoa Joe versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE title would happen, as Nakamura gets his rematch against Samoa Joe. If you guys do not remember, Samoa Joe would become the WWE Champion at SummerSlam at the end of last part of Part 8. But of course, Shinsuke Nakamura has his rematch, goes one-on-one with him. No stipulation match, just a one-on-one match, and Samoa Joe would come out on top and retain. Another match that I would actually change is Daniel Bryan versus The Miz in a no disqualifications match instead of a mixed tag match. Probably, yes, Brie Bella and Maurice would still be involved since it's no DQ or whatever, but I would have just liked it to have it be just The Miz and Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan would actually get the win over The Miz, getting a big win, but it would not end this rivalry between the two, as they would have a final match of their trilogy rivalry at Super Showdown, which we'll get into in a bit. And what I mean by a bit is actually right now, as the next pay-per-view is Super Showdown 2018, the first ever Super Showdown, live from Australia. I believe it was in Sydney, Australia. So it does have a good amount of keep matches, so let's get into those. Keep matches, Asuka and Naomi versus the Iconics, with Iconics winning, of course, in their home country of Australia. The New Day versus The Bar for the SmackDown Tag Team titles would also happen. New Day would retain, but they would still go on to lose to The Bar later on a SmackDown. I can't remember if it was after Super Showdown or after Crown Jewel, but we'll see either way. But I do want to go ahead and just say that real quick. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair would also still happen in a rematch, with Becky Lynch retaining. Cedric Alexander versus Buddy Murphy for the Cruiserweight Championship. Buddy Murphy getting the win in, of course, his home country of Australia. The Shield versus the trio of Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre in a six-man tag match, with the Shield coming out on top and a big win. Triple H versus The Undertaker would still be the main event. But before, I want to get more into that match later on, really real quick. But I do want to say Daniel Bryan versus The Miz does still happen. Match will be a little bit better, and Daniel Bryan would still get the win to become #1 contender for the WWE Championship at Crown Jewel, which of course we'll get to that later on. But going back to the Taker and Triple H match, this would be the only time they wouldn't have a match at Crown Jewel. That's the first sort of change that would happen with Crown Jewel, is that there would be no DX versus Brother of Destruction tag match. This would be the only match. It would have the same stipulation. Shawn Michaels, Kane would be involved in this match, and Triple H would still get the win. But after the match, it would just be a good special moment between the two and all four men. There would be no Undertaker and Kane. There would be no Undertaker and Kane. No Undertaker and attack by Undertaker and Kane. I couldn't freaking think of the word. After the match, really, it would just be a special respect moment. Again, Triple H would get the win, but this would be the only time we would see all of them in the ring, as there would be no Crown Jewel tag match between DX and the Brothers of Destruction. There wouldn't. So let's go quickly into the change matches and sort of new matches that Super Showdown would have. Sort of a keep match, really, as this match, I do remember, was actually advertised for Super Showdown, but was changed to a tag team match. That was supposed to be Cena versus Kevin Owens, rekindling the rivalry between the two back in 2015. But I do have John Cena winning this match. But I think it would have been great to see these two rivals go at it again at a big show like Super Showdown, especially the first one, as this would have been one of the biggest matches. Sort of the start of a sort of little rivalry between the two, and Chris Jericho and Bobby Lashley would be the next match. This match, I would probably see Bobby Lashley coming out with the win and defeating Chris Jericho. And finally would be the final match between Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura in a no disqualifications match for the WWE Championship, where Samoa Joe would retain yet again, and Nakamura would sadly fall short again of becoming WWE Champion. And that, of course, would end off Super Showdown 2018. Next is the show that, of course, is the main title of this video. That will probably be a good chunk of this video, though. And that, of course, is Crown Jewel 2018. That I do want to go ahead and say has one keep match. And that, of course, is The Bar versus the New Day for the SmackDown Tag Titles. Again, I don't know at this point if the New Day are tag champs or if The Bar are tag champs. But this match does still happen, and the outcome remains the same whether it happens. But again, I do want to say... I do want to say... The Bar does still become tag team champions around this point. So let's go into some of the change matches. First, of course, I do want to say that some sort of tournament does happen, but it's actually not for the World Cup that Crown Jewel would have. It would probably be something for different that I believe it would be a little bit much better than it was in real life. Let's talk about some other key matches before we get in, other new change matches before we get into that. First, Samoa Joe versus Daniel Bryan would happen for the WWE Championship, with Daniel Bryan winning the WWE Championship here instead of winning it on a random SmackDown. I do want to go ahead and say he does, over time, sort of get glimpses of a heel turn into the new Daniel Bryan, even though, yes, it would be against Samoa Joe, but Samoa Joe would also show glimpses of trying to becoming a babyface, as he's not sort of liking this whole change that Daniel Bryan's having. I know that's kind of weird for me to say, but I still wanted to try to find some way to still put the new Daniel Bryan as the heel Daniel Bryan, new Daniel Bryan in this universe, in this timeline, or whatever that you want to call it. But this match, of course, does happen, and Daniel Bryan becomes WWE Champion for the first time since his, of course, his return, capping off his big return with the WWE Championship, winning it here at Crown Jewel instead of winning it on a random SmackDown. Another match that, of course, is a match that I could have done at Super Showdown, and that's, of course, another rematch between Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles. If you guys don't know, Styles and Hardy had matches for the United States title at SummerSlam and all that. Jeff Hardy finally getting sort of his rematch, and finally seeing AJ Styles here in this part. I don't know why I didn't put him at Hell in a Cell or put him on Super Showdown, but he finally does appear here. He retains his United States Championship. Of course, why he became United States Champion, or why he's United States Champion, that's a little bit longer to go into. Go check out last part if you guys want to find out, so definitely go check out last part. Anyway, another sort of new match I made up on my own was Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, I do want to say this, that Dean Ambrose does end up betraying Seth Rollins, but it would be a little bit different. As yes, Ambrose and Rollins would win the Raw Tag titles from Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, but it wouldn't be until that probably a few weeks later they would face the Authors of Pain, Akam and Rezar, for the Raw Tag Team titles, lose the Raw Tag Team titles, and that would be around the time that that Dean Ambrose would betray Seth Rollins. And I do want to go ahead and say, yes, Roman Reigns does still announce his battle with leukemia and having to relinquish the Universal Championship. Of course, with them winning the tag team titles on the same night that Roman would announce that. Probably the next week or a couple weeks later, they would lose the tag titles. But not only does Seth Rollins now have to focus on why Dean Ambrose betrayed him, he now also has to focus on Drew McIntyre, who Drew McIntyre mostly goes after him, wanting to take the Intercontinental title away from him, kind of sort of as payback from taking the Raw tag titles. Seth Rollins would retain the Intercontinental Championship, but would sort of be on a quest of trying to find Dean Ambrose and trying to find answers why. And Ambrose's heel run would sort of be a little bit better booked and a little bit better written. And we'll kind of get more into that probably in next part, for part 10 really a little bit. But his run as a heel would sort of be a little bit better, especially in his rivalry with Seth Rollins. But the big, of course, announcement was, of course, Roman Reigns announcing his the relinquishing of the title due to him having leukemia. And of course, it was initially booked to have a triple threat match with him, Braun Strowman, and Brock Lesnar. But instead of them just going with Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman, I had an interesting idea of the final spot being on the line and a tournament being held for that final spot, with a couple superstars from SmackDown and a couple superstars from Raw. The superstars being Randy Orton, John Cena, Bobby Lashley, Rey Mysterio, The Miz, Chris Jericho, and Kevin Owens. The first round matches would, of course, be on like SmackDown and Raw. The second round semifinal matches would be at Crown Jewel, and the final match would also be at Crown Jewel, with the final member going on to the main event to be a part of the triple threat. Now, I really don't know how the matches would go. I kind of was like always confused of how it would kind of go. Mostly it would kind of go like Randy Orton would defeat Kevin Owens in the first round, Cena defeats Jericho, The Miz defeated by Bobby Lashley, and Rey Mysterio would defeat Dolph Ziggler. Bobby Lashley would face Randy Orton, John Cena would face Rey Mysterio, John Cena and Bobby Lashley would fight in a big-time finals match. Bobby Lashley, however, would continue sort of his big return year in 2018, being a part of another Universal title match. But sadly, yes, even with this whole change, you would probably think maybe no Brock Lesnar being a Universal Champion. Sadly, because of me just thinking forward and all that, Brock Lesnar would still become Universal Champion, and Lashley, again, would fall short of becoming Universal Champion. Sorry for Brock Lesnar haters and Bobby Lashley fans and all that, especially around this time. But it was just what I was thinking about, and it's what I'm going with, so it just is what it is at this point. But it was just an interesting concept of having a tournament, which of course is what they had in real life, as I feel like this would be better booked and a better, well-rounded show. But that, of course, is Crown Jewel 2018. So I know, of course, a good chunk of that of this episode has, of course, been with Crown Jewel, but we end off this part, though, with Survivor Series 2018 that only has 2 change matches. The first with the keep matches. Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali for the Cruiserweight title would still happen. Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey would happen, and yes, Becky Lynch would not be in this match due to her having a broken nose because of course, the whole invasion by the SmackDown Women's Division on Monday Night Raw, and her being punched by Nia Jax and having a broken nose would definitely still cause her to miss this match, and Charlotte Flair would take her place. Match would sort of be the same and would, yes, end in DQ. The 5-on-5 women's tag team match would also still happen, I believe, with Team Raw. I can't remember the teams, but I'll pop up the picture and you'll see who was a part of these teams. Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan would also be a keep match, as this would be a dream match. This dream match would happen, and this would sort of be the match that shows Daniel Bryan getting a little bit closer of having his heel turn and turning into the new Daniel Bryan. And then finally, the final keep match, AOP, the Also Pain Raw Tag Champs, versus the Bar, the SmackDown Tag Champs, who I believe won the tag titles a little bit after Crown Jewel, now that I'm thinking about it. But again, I don't know, but this match, of course, would happen, and I believe the Authors of Pain would pull off a pretty big upset, actually. But sort of the new matches, first being a different champion versus champion match, as of course, yes, Seth Rollins is Intercontinental Champion on Monday Night Raw, but instead of facing Nakamura, he would actually face AJ Styles in a dream match a year earlier before their actual real-life dream match, as this match would definitely be amazing. It would sort of be like their 2019 battle, back and forth action, and Seth Rollins would come out with the win and getting a point to Raw. As yes, kind of like in real life, this Survivor Series Raw would full on sweep SmackDown in Survivor Series, but a little bit of a change though into the teams for the men's Survivor Series matches. The changes mostly being for Team Raw, Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler, Bobby Lashley would of course be a part of this team, with sort of new members Chris Jericho and Finn Balor, as at this point Finn Balor is of course still a part of Monday Night Raw, and would sort of see a return of him. Actually, I think he was a part of the tag team in real life. It's just the new person would be Jericho. Anyway, Team SmackDown would also be pretty much different, as Rey Mysterio, The Miz, Jeff Hardy, and Samoa Joe would sort of be the same sort of team, with the addition of Shinsuke Nakamura, which could be interesting with having him and Samoa Joe as partners. And also, if you do notice, there's no Shane McMahon, because also another thing from Crown Jewel that has definitely changed, that will definitely change for the rest of this series, is the whole thing with Shane McMahon and The Miz, with Shane McMahon and The Miz, with Shane McMahon winning the tournament, becoming the best in the world, going on the turn heel, and doing the best in the world Shane McMahon gimmick, which was freaking terrible, and I hated that so much. But that, of course, will not happen. There will be no babyface turn for The Miz. There's no best in the world heel run by Shane McMahon. So there's none of that. That's, of course, one of the big changes from Crown Jewel. That also is a big change here with this tag team match. Team Raw would, of course, still come out with the win. But, of course, this would have some major changes, especially going forward into next part, which will go for the rest of 2018 and especially go into the amazing 2019, which I know a lot of people are ready for. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, that was of course the last show, and that of course brings us to the end of WWE What If Part 9. Of course, was definitely a lot to talk about, mostly of course with one section, but it was definitely a lot because it's just of how much I changed with that show. And definitely, like I said before, especially also with 2019, some of the shows in 2019, some of the shows are going to be long to where they're going to be a good portion of the video. So these videos are going to, of course, be a little bit longer than the first few parts as well. But anyway, I hope you guys are still enjoying this. Hopefully you guys actually made it through this whole video. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about these what if scenarios. If you want to maybe make any changes, if you agree with some of the changes I made, let me know in the comments down below. Definitely would appreciate it. Also, of course, if you guys want to get caught up or watch all the other parts as well, definitely go watch the playlist. The playlist to all the videos, the link to it will be down in the description below. So definitely go check out all those videos. I will also have the recent video, which will be Part 8, I will have that up at the end of the video if you guys want to just go check that out. Definitely go check that out, and go check out the rest of the videos as well. But again, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I hope you guys are enjoying this series. I'm definitely enjoying making this series. Don't know when, of course, part 10 I will do, but I'll definitely get to it when I can. But again, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, hope you guys are enjoying this series. If you guys did, though, enjoy this video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell for future upcoming videos here on the channel. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that, of course, comes to the end of WWE What If Part 9. And I hope you guys have an amazing, blessed day. And I'll see you guys in the next video.